the opposite of last week. That was
Yeah,
last
big
week was
contrast.
full Brady bunch.
We literally went like top tier S-class podcast to
S-Class.
yeah,
S-Class. Is that a
You're in
Mercedes
the
reference or is this
Mercedes?
a video
you don't know
game
S-Class? You've
reference?
never seen the tier list on like
Oh, so
on
S tier,
YouTube?
but there's
S-tier?
S-Class.
Whatever,
is also
whatever. I'm thinking. Did you ever play Final Fantasy? Where you particularly Final Fantasy 7, where you race the chocobos.
Yeah.
And you got to work your way up. And I remember being so happy that I got to A, and then it's like there's another one, and then
S.
So it
goes above A.
Yes.
That's what I told my parents. I was like, I got all S's in school. It's much better than A.
I got all S's.
Yeah, it was satisfactory.
That's exactly right.
Turns out the S is for sucks. If I wear a black shirt and I use a black mic, it totally like you can't see the mic. It's perfect.
Blends right in.
It does blend right in.
Don't ask about the monitor stand. I guess I have to paint my whole wall black.
So then you're just like a floating head.
Then I'm just like a floating head. I mean, that's fine.
You could just go full green screen, get the whole Green Man outfit, and
I could. That's. I've thought about it, but then I realized, am I really gonna change a whole room in my house into a green screen and then post green screen footage of myself on the internet? Because I feel like there's things that can happen.
Rough. That's rough. I would definitely not. There's some interesting stories, but nothing as crazy as last week for sure.
Yeah, there's nothing that's like
it's gonna be way crazier. It's gonna be way crazier.
Balloons. That's what's on everyone's mind. How do we get the balloons?
All right. Right.
Whatever.
I'll make up an intro. It's fine.
Well, I can stall for like another minute.
No stalling.
And show this off. Because now we can do QR code things. I promise it's not a Rickroll.
Why isn't it a Rickroll?
Right.
For audio listeners, we now have QR codes on the video.
Now we have Restream enabled. We're on Restream to do these.
For audio listeners, allow me to describe the QR code. It is I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it in binary. 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. All right, I'm done. That's the whole QR code.
I think you messed up there anyway. You got to start over.
Oh, I got to start over at which position? 60,000 or 65,000?
65,000.
All right. 0, 1. Just roll the finger. There's no banter when you have 4 people.
All right. Well, I was stalling a little bit because John said he was going to show up.
No, John's not showing up. Did I not tell you this?
No, you did not.
For all the viewers, if you're here just to see John in his Care Bears shirt, which he was totally wearing earlier, and don't ask me how I know that, he's not coming. And also, sadly, Ralph isn't coming. He's out celebrating Valentine's Day, which apparently is a holiday that I've never heard of.
On a Monday?
On a Monday?
That's what I said.
The day before,
right?
He's like Dwight Schrute. I think he got a bunch of reservations on the actual 14th, but then he sold those off, and he's going on the 13th instead.
That's how you pay for the meal.
That makes sense. That was smart. I should have done that.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're currently at Valentine's Day dinner watching this,
Mr. Unplugged's leaving since John Strand
Don't
left.
do that.
All right, it's okay.
Mr. Unplugged, let us earn your loyalty.
This is gonna be off the rails. Crazy.
No, it's going to be on the rails for once. If you're the kind of person that likes things to actually be on the rails, this is your chance.
But I like off the rails. I think it goes better.
Well,
I didn't drink as much coffee as I did.
Is this one of the news articles, the derailment thing? Are we going to talk about that?
we could.
We didn't even have that on there. That was a good idea.
There's not anything cyber related. It's just toxic chemicals in Ohio as normal. But yeah. So.
All right, I'm going to roll it.
Right. We're on the rails. Roll it.
HBS programming made possible by Black Hills Information Security. Offense is red, defense is blue. Book a red team exercise soon. Show your organization how much you care this Valentine's Day by booking a red team exercise. Availability for 2023 is filling fast, so book soon at blackhillsinfosec.com/contact us. and hackers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to Black Hills Information Security, talking about the news, Valentine's Day edition. Today we're going to talk about balloons, apparently, and balloon defense. And also we're going to talk about how to go off the rails, because that's what we need to learn to make the show successful.
Yeah, people prefer no rails, apparently, according to Alex.
People seem to prefer no rails, which checks out. I mean, Ruby on Rails, not good. Not
you read
arguably.
my mind.
Yeah.
I was going to try to make that joke, and you read my mind.
I mean, there's better web frameworks out there. Let's at least get out there. Let's get that out there. So yeah, today our hosts this is the skeleton crew, the minimum viable product crew. We have Wade and Mike, and then me and Ryan. And Ryan's computer, the fifth host.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. The fifth
So
element.
I think we got to talk about Bloons Tower Defense, the nation state edition.
So we've upgraded the monkeys to at least S tier now, and we're
The
popping
monkeys are
balloons
upgraded.
left and right?
They're F-22s now.
I believe there
monkeys
is
are
a monkey, right? There is a monkey that flies a jet. It's been a long time.
So is
since I
that
played
confirmed that the monkey is actually flying the F-22? Is that? I don't think that's been confirmed.
I don't think I have a link for
We
that one.
can't
so I don't think
confirm
it's
nor
correct.
deny the existence of the monkey flying the balloon.
So I think, yeah, I guess where we left this story last was they shot down the balloon over Myrtle Beach. A bunch of party people found it. Just kidding. But basically, they shot down the balloon on the East Coast. Then there was more balloons, and they also banned or sanctioned some companies over the spy program. So that's sort of the actual official news article is that, yeah, I don't know if has anyone read the names. I've never heard of any of these companies. The names.
They're so good. I need someone who speaks Chinese to tell us the real Chinese names.
Did they not just seem like shell corps to you?
Oh, without a doubt. With China Electronics Technology Group Corporation 48th Research Institute. Like, if I saw them register a domain, I'd be like blocked instantly.
What do you mean? What about the other 47?
That doesn't have any sort of military sound to it at all.
They all blew. The other 47 blew up when the balloons crashed.
That's right. Start counting at 48, so they think you have more of those companies.
It's like WD-40. Like it took them 40 tries to get WD-40 right. So this is like Balloon Corporation 48. It's been 48 in
Yeah, so
balloon
White
wars
Cyber
have begun.
The White Side, yeah, that's exactly right. The balloon wars have begun, and they seem like pretty much the most boring war out there. Like it's basically, from what I can tell, and China sort of rebuked. They sort of gave a rebuttal and said, "Well, you guys fly spy balloons over us all the time."
Yeah, did you hear? They shot one down too. They don't know who's doing it. They're coming from everywhere.
So okay, the first one appears to be confirmed as like Chinese spy balloon, right? But then they sort of shut down some airspace over Montana and shot down some more balloons, and they were like, those were different balloons. Sorry.
Then there's one in Canada, one in Alaska, right?
Yeah,
and
Trudeau's like, I told Biden to shoot down the balloon, and then they sent up the balloons monkeys to do it, actually.
So does anyone have an official balloon kill count now? And have they all been by F-22s?
I think it's 3. But I'm not.
I thought it was 4 or 5. Do we count the Chinese balloon, or the other 47 balloon corporations?
I'd heard that they'd shot down another one today. The one thing that we could tie this back into cybersecurity on, though, quite honestly, and we all do it in the SOC when we're doing Blue Team, is once you know about something, you can go ahead and find it. In this case, the balloons moved too slow for the military radars originally to see. Now they've fine-tuned their radars. Now they're seeing balloons everywhere. Look up, you'll probably see one yourself.
Well, hold on. There's another. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But there is another cybersecurity application here, which is, how do we weaponize balloons for pen testing?
Wi-Fi pineapples on balloons.
We were actually talking about this today during the BHIS internal meeting. Like, how are we going to do Wild West Hacking Fest? Like, are we going to have like a spy balloon that you have to hack and like take it down?
Oh,
Like,
that
how
would
do
be
we?
so cool.
And
Or
then we
do we-
started thinking about what bases are nearby, and that's probably an immediately bad decision because it'll rain missiles shortly thereafter.
And hey, it's a
Yeah,
wild Steve.
I think this is some like
Okay.
school science fair project just gone awry, right? It's just,
First of all,
they
how'd you
released
even get in
100
here?
balloons and- What's
Did
that?
you get the password for this from a balloon? Yeah, no, you're right.
So-
We probably shouldn't go ahead launching a bunch of balloons in South Dakota, but
Honestly, putting like
guess-
the tinfoil hat on, right? Like they talked about the first balloon, right? Showed us video, shows. Why didn't they show us video or pictures of any of the other balloons, right? What if that first balloon was like a false flag balloon operation and the rest of the stuff is actually aliens?
but okay, if you're putting on the tinfoil hat, you have to come up with a reason why anyone benefits from this.
Anarchy.
The profit point is always question marks, right? Step
Well, so
one,
the
step
other-
two.
That's fair, but the other thing that's funny is that correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not like a weather scientist, but I'm pretty sure that it's legal for anyone to just launch a balloon into space or close to space. Like, didn't they send garlic bread to space at one point and then they ate it afterwards? Like, it's
Oh, that is
you
true.
can pretty much just like send anything up. Like, you can
Can
just
we-
be like weather balloon.
Can we crowdfund a balloon right now and just start be like
Dude,
DDoS
crowdfund.
sure
I'm
we
pretty
could.
sure I can just
what if
buy
we
one on
DDoS
Amazon.
space with balloons? And because then they're like, oh wait a second, like there's just too many balloons.
They can't
not-
get to like real space. They can only get
Well,
to like
I mean,
fake
like
space.
you just keep
Like
launching
almost
balloons.
space.
How
Fake
much
space.
does one of those balloons cost? Did we see that? It's
Let me
gotta
go
be
on
pretty
Amazon.
expensive.
They can't be that much.
They can't be that much.
Dude, that thing was
She-
like 200 feet tall. It's got to be.
Okay, well that one. No. I know. Not the first one. That one. The
Not the
first
first-
one is the
Well,
first one
the
is
second
two-
one. They said that it was some kind of device with what do you call it? Tethered object hanging from it.
So
I don't
garlic
know if
bread.
They didn't call it a balloon specifically, right?
They're
So
on
what, is it a
Shein right
blimp?
now for $10. I'm buying 5.
So yeah,
Fine.
basically like okay.
much?
So here's the thing. The other question I have is: does Amazon AWS have a balloon launching like as a service yet? Is that a thing? Because it's a cloud offering, so like it should.
You can buy it off the Amazon store, and then they'll send it up for you.
It's like a gift option. Send this to
This is-
space.
This is the next. It's above the cloud. That's going to be the tagline.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like
Bezos is going to personally send off your balloon.
All right. I feel like we milked the balloon thing for just about as much as it's worth. Does anyone have any actual security articles? Did anyone get hacked? I saw Reddit had a security incident.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was an
Wasn't
industry
there a
one.
NameCheap? Somebody, I think Ralph told us a little something today about a NameCheap fish potential breach around that.
Yeah, someone should find that article. But let's talk about the Reddit one until someone finds it.
Got it. I'll pull it up.
You guys,
All right,
you
thanks,
guys talk
Steve.
about like the 2 that I didn't read, of course.
So Reddit had a security incident, which this is posted to the /r/Reddit subreddit. It's funny that they announced. Shouldn't it be like /r/we got hacked? I don't know. But yeah, basically Reddit users and passwords are safe, but systems were hacked as part of a sophisticated and highly targeted phishing attack. They gained access to internal documents, code, and other business systems. So, yeah, this is
If
a
you're
fish.
housing
They
your PII on Reddit, you're screwed. Right? Like-
Well, I think it's more like if you work at Reddit and you had
Ah.
PII on your work computer, you're kind of screwed. But yeah, so it's a phishing campaign, plausible sounding prompts pointing in place to a website that cloned the behavior of our internet gateway. So this is kind of interesting, right? They actually figured out what their internet gateway looks like. I don't know if it was like Okta or if it was custom, but they tried to steal credentials and 2-factor tokens. They successfully stole credentials, gained access to some internal docs, code, and internal dashboards. So I guess I would say, like, to me, the one that I'm the most concerned about is code, because we know that these internal tools are not exactly the most secure things on the planet. This happened at Twitter where they're like, oh yeah, there's this internal Twitter tool that just lets you tweet from anyone's account. You just drop down Elon Musk, tweet, I'm going to buy Twitter, and then you're done. So I guess it's a little scary about the code. Does anyone have any other reactions?
They did an AMA.
What, the attackers did?
No, Reddit did an AMA on their security thing, which is interesting. I don't know. I didn't go ahead and read the AMA. Like what kind of questions would you even want to ask about that?
Well, so one of the interesting things is, and then someone called this out, just reading the comments real quick, the employee self-reported that they were phished.
Mhm.
So
That's pretty impressive.
That's impressive that they had this sort of wherewithal to be like, that was sketchy. Let me just go ahead and raise awareness. It also is kind of concerning because I guess reading between the lines on that, they didn't get alerted. They
well, that's why the articles
and a
talking about
fish
MFA, right?
landed in the inbox. Right?
Fish landed in the inbox, and they had access. The other question we have is, how did they have access to internal Reddit, like intranet sites? Like, how did they clone that? How did they even know what it looked like? Was it an ex-employee? Was it someone posted what the internal sites looked like, and they were able to clone it from that?
Configuration posted on GitHub.
Who knows?
This makes me think that has there ever been a breach report where they didn't say it was a sophisticated attack, where they're just like, nah, it just sucked. Like
They're
There's
just
a
like,
single person doing a denial of service.
Fred from sales clicked
DDoS.
it, and we're sorry. Like it didn't. We caught some of it, but we reacted quickly.
Yeah,
Fred
we
is very-
should. Oh, what?
We're being hacked.
We're being hacked.
Oh, wow.
Infiltrated. Uh-oh.
Oh my God! It's our field reporter.
Incoming message from Ian.
That's right. Can you hear me okay? Am I
How
here?
do I hack
Yeah,
your
we
hard
hear
hat
you.
with the flipper? I'm on it.
Oh,
I'm on
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Ian, we
So-
sent you on an assignment. Did you find anything about the balloons? Or spy balloons?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I've got my BHIS ICS vest on. I'm ready to go. And yeah, the balloons, it turns out, is a gender reveal gone wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what we thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can we
thought
tie
you were-
this in with ICS? Do
That
you
was
think the
that was a
balloon
theory.
had PLCs glued onto it?
Right. Yeah. So the balloons are absolutely a new form of mobile ICS developed in some of the Romantic language countries, right? So as we all know, Romantic languages based in Latin are all gender based. So all the balloons have to have a gender, and the way that we reveal them is by shooting them down with a F-22. Yeah.
Okay,
Ooh.
so is there
Inquiring
any
minds
word on
wanna
what
know
gender the balloon
genders were
was?
revealed in the explosions that disintegrated most of the remnants of the balloon.
Yeah. Yeah. So as one might expect, the PLCs were binary and the balloons were non-binary.
That makes perfect sense. Now that you say
Yeah,
it, I don't know why I didn't already think of that.
Yeah, no, well, I'm here at S4 X23 in Miami with Jason. Jason's over here. I'm going to turn the camera real quick and see if we can get him. There he is. He's over there doing backdoors and breaches demos. We had a huge crowd here a bit ago. It's clearing out because they started to do their free booze over here for their happy hour, and nothing competes with free booze on a corporate trip. So, yeah, so we're doing backdoors and breaches demos. And since I'm here at S4, you can come see us if you're here. But I'm learning all about balloons and PLC and all that good stuff. Yeah. So you asked about my helmet, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Why is there a flipper on your helmet?
yeah, there's a flipper on
How
my
to
helmet
hack your hard
because-
hat.
Yeah, so since we don't have like a table while we're here, I've got like a tool belt on with dice and stuff to give away. And on the back, there's a 3D printed module with a wacky wavy inflatable arm tube man and a little unencrypted 433 megahertz relay. That's all battery powered. And I've been showing people how unencrypted signals can be captured with a Flipper Zero that's over on the table, and how to check for those things, and walking around doing live, like almost street magic, if you will. So
So
yeah, that's
you're
how we roll
flipping
here.
off the crowd.
I am. I'm actually completely upsetting the entire Miami Dolphins while we're here. All the Dolphins.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of
Yeah, I
dolphins.
That's
think
a
Dolphins do use wireless protocols, so that checks out.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's all sonar. Yeah,
Right.
so they use sonar to detect the balloons. And there was a famous documentary called Johnny Mnemonic where a hacker dolphin hacked balloons and brains.
I see.
To do that.
So we actually have an extremely important audience piece of feedback here, specifically for
yeah.
you, Ian. It actually just says,
Okay.
"I love you, Ian."
Oh, well, I love them too. But Mrs. Meyer has said no thruffles. So yeah, that's where we're. So yeah, we just wanted to stop by and say hi to crash the newscast. Jason's over there, like I said, doing the thing.
Look at him actually working. Like, None
Who
of
knew?
us.
Go.
Oh, Steve has one of the wacky waving inflatable.
Look at how resplendent he is. It's the same one. Yeah, that's the exact same one I have on the back of the helmet. So yeah,
Just
over
faced the
there
wrong way.
teaching people all about the things. So,
Yeah, just make sure you tell everyone that wins your little CTF on your hat that they're an advanced, sophisticated actor.
oh, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Basically, if you do anything anymore with a computer, you are classified as an APT through the Lockheed Martin kill chain. Yeah. Open Facebook. Send an email to your grandmother. APT. Totally.
I would say if you can get
Straight
your
to jail.
grandmother to read the email, that is actually APT level.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that would be like an APT level, like social like if you pretend to be like AARP, like you're like, hey, yeah, absolutely. So I just crashed this. What are we talking about?
Oh, we wanted to get a report from our field reporter, but we were talking about the Reddit security incident.
Did that involve balloons in any way?
Sadly, no. We're really trying to do a show based solely on balloon themed hacking, and we're just coming up totally blank. There's just not that many balloon hacks out there, sadly.
Oh, we're on the news webcast. Everyone, look! A wild
Whoa.
Bryson board appears.
Hello, welcome to the field where you're reporting on the
They're saying
status
hi.
of balloons.
He's lost. The bar is that way. The
Ah,
bar
sure.
is that way.
Yeah, there's
Our
a
ears.
part that way. Field on wild Bryson boards. It's pandemonium down here. It's dolphin.
Some say he's actually the Grim Reaper.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, when he's not uniform, yeah, he's definitely Grim Reaper. All right, so I'm gonna let this try and get back on the rails, but thanks for.
No, we're just
jump
about to
in and
talk
crash
about the
party.
train derailment story, so that's perfect.
Oh, okay.
Just
Okay,
kidding.
yeah. Well, we've derailed and we'll re-rail, and that's actually really tragic. I don't want to make a joke here, so have fun with that.
Very good, very good.
All right.
So, bye, Ian. Thank you for checking
Bye.
in.
Bye, Ian.
Bye. All right. Bye.
So yeah, I guess on the Reddit thing, I mean, to wrap that up into, I think just Reddit will have to keep everyone informed as to what the impact was. Internal code can be very dangerous, but do we want to talk about the train derailment thing? There's not really a story. I mean, it's just very sad, tragic thing.
I don't really have a security
There's
story
a brief
on that.
one, Ryan, on
There's
NameCheap,
not.
if you wanted to pull that one up.
Yeah, let's
Anybody
talk about
watch-
the NameCheap thing.
Okay.
So this might have come onto people's radar. It came specifically onto Ralph's radar because he received an email that was a fish, and then later received a follow-up from NameCheap that said, hey, that fish was related to this security incident. So this is...
How sophisticated
We'll
is
read it as it's pulled up.
Yeah, so basically, NameCheap's email hacked. That is the headline. Let's investigate the actual details of what that means. All the emails came from SendGrid. Recipients began complaining on Twitter, of course, and then the CEO was checking his Twitter and decided to confirm that the account was compromised. So it looks like a sort of a supply chain, I guess you want to call it. The email provider SendGrid was compromised. They did speculate the breach could have been related to a API security issue of Mailgun, MailChimp, and SendGrid keys being exposed in mobile apps. I guess that would be sort of up to them to figure out.
Their SPF record allows anything from SendGrid. So
You read my mind. That's what I was gonna ask. Some simple mail security there, right? Like,
Well,
this
but they're
reminds me
implying
of,
that their keys got popped, but I don't know if that's actually the case or not.
I think that's code for we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. Do you remember when it's not exactly the same, but when the FBI's mail server got popped and like someone sent out emails to a bunch of people saying that they were from the FBI and that they had been hacked and to contact them and then gave a link. That's similar to what this reminds me of. It's not exactly
Well,
the same, 'cause it was
this was used sadly for some straight up garbage phishing.
Phishing,
they didn't use
Cheat phishing.
ChatGPT.
They had such an amazing vector, and they chose to use it for DHL and MetaMask So the first email was DHL Express. We regret to inform you that your parcel was not able to be delivered. click here to get compromised. The other one was your wallet is about to be suspended from MetaMask. Apply for KYC verification, which for those that don't know, MetaMask is a crypto wallet.
Okay, thank you.
So-
Thank you for that clarification.
That is very random for a crypto wallet to be like, we actually do KYC. Like your actual wallet does KYC. Like
So
it's
the-
like your
the first
iPhone
one-
asking you. Yeah.
The first fish, though, I mean, did it look like there was a payload associated with that, or some kind of link, like tracking, link tracker or something in there? I couldn't tell.
Let me pull up the tweet.
Yeah. The tweet, it says a bill of delivery. I'm assuming that's
Yeah, it's a common.
It's
fish,
actually just a
right?
PHI stealer or PII stealer. So it's like your classic, click here to track or whatever. You click
Mhm.
there
Track
and
and
then it will
pay.
harvest your address.
Ryan, go ahead,
probably your
download that
credit card.
attachment, right click, run as administrator. and then,
Sure, give me a moment.
He's on Mac, so everything's administrator. Just kidding. But no, yeah, basically it's just information harvesting, it looks like, in both cases. So kind of a lame way of using a pretty solid point of access, at least from my perspective. If you have the SendGrid account and this is what you choose to use it for, this is pretty unimaginative. But I guess we talk about hackers being unimaginative all the time on this podcast.
So they would have had to have a list of users somehow, right, to fish into. So some kind of user enumeration, maybe.
if it's
for
just
NameCheap,
DHL, though,
or just random.
right? I would say random because DHL, everyone's going to be using that. Like I get those all the time, and every now and then I'm like, do I have something coming? And I'm like, oh no, I'm not clicking.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Maybe they assumed that once they got access to the API key, they'd be able to like get a list of targets and then realize that wasn't really a thing. Yeah, I mean, I think that the more interesting impact of this is if they had access to the API keys, I wonder what else they were able to read while they were in there, right? Because there actually is, if you're SendGrid is a service that a lot of companies use to deliver things like two-factor codes, enrollments, password resets. It's used heavily for like microservices delivery of emails. So I wonder if you could actually gain access to like previous logs from the API key, you could do some pretty nasty things. So if the API keys really were the thing that's disclosed and the attackers were able to pull like historical logs and other things from SendGrid, could be bad. So I guess stay tuned on the SendGrid side and see what they announce. But
Yeah, as an attacker, I wouldn't waste it on like those emails, because I know if you've got access like that and then you broadcast, hey, we're here, then you kind of burn that, the juicy stuff that you probably had access to. So either they weren't unskilled or they didn't have that access and just abused what they had, right?
yeah, and like Steve said, there's totally a possibility that no API keys were exposed at all, and SendGrid just had a crappy SPF setup that allowed any attacker to look like they were sending digitally signed from SendGrid. So there is definitely that chance. All right, Wade's got an article.
So I want to talk about this one just because of the app's slogan. I was pretty impressed.
Well,
there,
even the
Gino.
app's name just makes me,
right.
It feels like a sketch on a comedy show. It's called Money Lover.
Money Lover.
Oh boy.
An
Is it a
app so
dating app
sweet-
where
yeah,
it shows you
no.
your bank account balance?
Yeah, the other
ready-
person's bank account got balanced.
Ready?
Isn't it that Lionel Richie song from like the 80s? Money Lover.
Is last updated on February 1st. It's Money Lover, an app so sweet, helping you manage and budget your treat. Track all your spending with such ease. No more confusion, no more disease.
This
Is
has
that
to
for
be
real?
this
That's
has to be
actually on it.
AI generated. This has to be like that has to be like generated by something like ChatGPT
they-
as
they
like
got
a
a-
troll.
They have 4.2 stars with almost 200,000 downloads, 194, right? And pretty much they just have a flaw in their system where so this is pretty much an app like Mint where you can budget and stuff and see each other's spending. So I am a avid user of Mint, so probably
I
shouldn't.
thought you were about to say you're an avid user of Money Lover.
Money Lover. I just love Money Lover. I track all of my spending. It's really my wife tracking my spending, to tell you.
Did
the
you
truth.
write your actual
But-
poem for your financial plan? Because all your financial plans should be written in poem form. It should rhyme.
Tomorrow is
Dude.
Valentine's Day. Do not install Money Lover on your significant other's phones.
So, okay, the actual vulnerability, and I don't understand this, but somehow this is a thing. I guess it allowed multiple users to collaborate on a single wallet. So like you could share, okay, you add all your accounts and your wife or significant other or whoever adds all their accounts, and then you can see that. But the problem is that this, like, it's essentially object reference issue where anyone can see everyone else's transaction or at least their transaction metadata.
This gets me thinking about like Venmo and stuff like that, where people just leave on their like security defaults and you can see everyone sending everybody payments and stuff. Like I have all of that turned off, but I always thought that was so weird.
It is insane.
I can just browse through and see who's paying who and for what potentially. But
welcome to Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you don't go in Bitcoin and put in the transaction ledger rent for 1234 Pleasant Road or whatever. Like,
you would be surprised at some of the things you see on the ledger, but yeah, you're not like tracking what you're spending.
The Venmo thing, I think they did actually lock it down by default now, and you have to manually say share this transaction with everyone. But yeah, for a while, like a lot of people were scraping Venmo because you could actually say like, oh yeah, this is rent for, and then it's just your address, or like beer at this place, or like it ties you to specific locations. And honestly, like if nothing else, the privacy concerns don't bother you. Know what should? The tax implications. Because
you read my mind.
I'm paying rent and I'm not paying any tax, or I'm collecting this money that's provable as income.
What is it? Every $600 transaction or over has to be reported now?
I know that's
something ridiculously small.
It's the stupidest rule, just adding complexity. Meanwhile, if you're rich, you don't have to pay more than 15%.
The other thing that this whole Money Lover incident shows us is that, developer tools, that good old, F12, is an elite hacking tool.
More than that. No, you have to go further than that. It says you have to use a proxy, and you have to use the WebSockets view in the proxy, which that's like extra advanced.
Yeah, just says the email address and shared wallet name can be viewed via the WebSockets tab of the browser's developer tools.
Yeah, that's pretty advanced. That I would call that sophisticated and advanced. And possibly even persistent.
Maybe even next generation. I don't know.
So yeah, I guess, would anyone be interested in a dating app that tells you your potential partner the balance of your bank account? If so, sign up at Money Lover or whatever. I mean, that's just bad. Hopefully they fix it.
They won't. What about the NIST standardization one?
Oh, I was going to say we should talk about the whole like banning Starlink from military use.
Oh, no, do that. Yeah.
We had talked about this on the show previously where they were allowing it for business use. For military use, for business use. Yeah, so they were allowing, this basically was kind of the open secret, is that Starlink was the, military C2 of Ukraine. So now they're saying, no more. So I guess, does anyone have any speculation? I mean, obviously we can put on our tinfoil hats and say, how much money did Elon lose? And then he had to take some Russian VC funding, maybe.
Well, it's kind of set right there that also been said to have used to target Russian positions, breaking policies set out by SpaceX. So I think it sounds to me like their original intent was, hey, use this for, intelligence purposes, but not attacking. I don't know.
Ukraine didn't read the end user agreement saying military strikes pretty much, right? Which makes sense. Then it puts those satellites in, like, I would say, fair game to be attacked. Right?
Exactly.
Which would be very interesting if something like that happened.
I mean, I do understand. Like, if I was making an internet service provider, I would put a thing that said, like, don't use this to nuke people. But like, I feel like you just have to use common sense here and be like, okay, we're going to provide this to Ukraine on short notice, emergency. Like, this was an emergency thing, right? This is like, we need to provide service to Ukraine. I think they airlifted some of this equipment in with the Air Force. Like, it was a big deal. Like, getting Starlink equipment into Ukraine was a big deal. And it wasn't just like they already happened to have it. Like, they only have it because they're being attacked. So being like, all right, you're being attacked, but you can't use it to attack other people, only to post pictures of you being attacked. Like, I don't really get it. It just seems like, from a common sense perspective, no one can really know what decisions Elon makes. They're pretty random and seem to have no basis in reality or any rational thought. So I'm guessing he just woke up one day on the anti-Ukraine side of the bed and said, "I'm done with this. No more, no more of this." So
We blocked all the .mil domains. How are they still doing all these military actions? I don't know.
that's actually a really interesting. That's actually a really interesting point. Is like, how do you block this? Like, how do you actually like ban people who are doing military things with your ISP? Like, seriously, like, let's say you're like a god admin, you're handed like full access to Starlink. Let's say, packet captures at the lowest level. How do you block like offensive military activity?
All right, we only allow port 80. We only allow HTTP traffic through so we can inspect everything and possibly get some sweet internet secrets.
Like, is there something we don't know? Like, do like missiles use port 5002 or something? Like, is there like some port? Is there like some military like protocol? Like, I don't know. I guess it's interesting to. They do say specifically for drone control, but that seems impossible. Like, I wonder if they just banned all of the sort of host names and APIs associated with like DJI or these other drone providers.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. But even then, like you can switch the Wi-Fi off on all those drones, right? Like what are they updating the drones? Is that like how would blocking of the Wi-Fi with the drones and all that?
I agree. I don't entirely understand it.
I was thinking of a SpaceX honeypot. You put out Wi-Fi somewhere and you just wait for Russians to connect, and then once they connect, you're like, oh, they're there. Connects. Boom.
It's not a landmine, it's a Wi-Fi mine.
You put it on a balloon and you float it over them and they see, oh, there's
Wi-Fi pineapple grenade.
Yeah, it looks like they're using it apparently somehow for long-range drone strikes. I mean, I think I feel bad for the network admin at Starlink that's like has an open Jira ticket that just says ban drone strikes, and he's like, guys, I don't know how to do this. How do you ban drone strikes on an internet provider?
It's using Telnet.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, then he bans Telnet and then Starlink goes down because Starlink uses Telnet for its internal admin. But yeah, who knows? I mean, I guess it's not entirely unexpected. And I do think it's fair to say don't kill people with our internet. But like at the same time, you put it in a military context to begin with. So
wouldn't it be fair to say that with DJI drones too, though, right? Like,
wouldn't it be fair to say it with like just the internet at large?
Everything
like
large, yeah.
Like I don't know, like if I call someone on the phone and say, the Eagle has landed, does that count as me using? I don't know. It just doesn't make. It's the whole utility thing for utilities to start trying to regulate. It's really tough. And yeah, it is semantics down to like, we can't use it for offense. You can only use it for defense. It's like, okay, well, isn't it the same? Like, I don't know.
They're in our country, therefore it's defense. There you go. It's all allowed, right?
Mm-hmm. Bets on should we start a pool on when we hear about the next Starlink hack? Ooh. Based off of this?
I mean, does shooting a missile at something count as a hack?
Someone put it on the board. We need a predictions board maybe. And so like how many more balloons? When is Starlink going to be hacked? And the time frame from the next big vulnerability. We could play with it.
I mean, it is interesting this week. There was no big vulnerability. There's no ransomware. There's no. It's kind of crazy.
There probably was, and the balloons just took all the news.
Did we have the news story about wasn't NORAD that got attacked, but NATO over the weekend?
NATO got attacked over the weekend?
It was like a DDoS or something trivial, I heard, but see if I can find that. Yeah, there's still attacks going out there. Staseems like it's
there was one
ransomware
story.
There's another one how Pentagon staffers are downloading lover money.
Royal Mail.
Oh yeah, NATO website hacked. The Special Forces headquarters. Here you go.
The Special Forces headquarters had a website?
They were running a mail server in their bathroom.
Hey, that's a secure way to do it.
So as we know from many previous hacks, when someone's website is hacked, that's the equivalent to spray painting a poster. But yeah, so Steve, what happened here?
So basically, yeah, I read this over the week, and I think this might have actually been yesterday, day before, 13th. Oh, updated today. Yeah, today.
Hacked on February
So
12th.
I don't know what the extent of the hack was, but they're associating it with Killnet, known Russian-backed group, apparently. So, group of hackers associated with Russia.
I wonder why would Russia want to make NATO look bad?
Pull up that
Does
other
anyone
news
know?
article saying Russia isn't
Yeah, nice
isn't
segue
doing anything to hackers now.
to this story, which is
Whatever you
completely
do, whatever you do,
Yeah,
viewers,
not
don't
related.
don't click on this link. All right. Dot.
So this
You can't say don't click on this link and then put the link
And
in
then
chat.
Yeah, I didn't put
You
anything
click on the
there.
Yeah, don't click on that link, everyone, that Ryan just put in chat for everyone.
that I already clicked on.
So this is basically, what is this? This is basically saying, like, if you don't live in Russia and you
No, that
act-
Russia supports white hat hackers. What they classify as white hat hackers is anyone who doesn't attack Russia. Just like the normal stuff, right? Like, no
Well,
one's
I
surprised.
mean,
So-
working out
Yeah.
an exemption for those who act in the interest of the Russian Federation in the field of computer information, both on the territory and abroad. So they're like, hey, stop arresting people. Is that what they're saying? Like,
no, they're saying
Yeah.
that, hey, if you're hacking it on behalf of Russia, it's cool.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
kind of what like the Ukraine did with the Ukraine IT army, right?
mhm.
President Zelensky said, hey, everybody come hack for us. And it's just turned into like this open war on the internet that's kind of spilled everywhere. And now Russia's apparently kind of doing the same thing.
They're like, hey, come hack for us. It's
Yeah.
like recruiting a farm team of like hackers. It's like, okay, yeah, does anyone around here know how to hack? If you do it in the name of Russia, we're okay with it. But I'd like to remind everyone out there that one country that might not be okay with it is wherever you live. And they're probably the ones that are going to come bang on your door, not Russia. So
Well, I think this is targeted for Russians to do hacking.
Yeah.
yeah, but if you're a Russian doing hacking in the United States, just because Russia says you're allowed to, doesn't mean.
Yeah.
True.
Valid point.
Russians in Russia. There.
But it also says and abroad. They're very clear about that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
there are some very pro-Russian, places. So
True.
I'm sure they can go.
Yeah,
hack
or non-extradition
will.
countries. They're like, we'll give you the Snowden treatment. It even comes with a free hotel.
Free hotel.
We have lots of open job positions for totally not military positions.
Yeah.
What else is there? There's
So yeah, what article were you gonna bring up?
it's not that fancy. It's the NIST standardization one with the cryptography, right? Starting to use cryptography in IoT devices, which I think is semi-important, right? Like we've seen,
It is.
right? We've seen
Yeah.
all this unencrypted channels and them being hacked. Go back to like the Mirai botnet stuff, but
It's one of those like they can't keep getting away with it. So
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
there's something. Yeah.
So my first thought on this is like, of course, most like any big developer is gonna obviously put this into use pretty quickly. I would assume anyone who's selling, but all those knockoff IoT devices that you see in China or coming from China, I doubt we'll ever use this, and this won't even.
Yeah.
Is this seriously
That's
called
my-
Ascon?
Yeah. I don't want to say it out loud.
So what do we know about this resistance against quantum key search? Oh my lord.
Well, it's called Ascon. So I mean, or maybe it's Ascon. I'm assuming it's Ascon.
Probably
right?
Ascon.
It's ASCON for audio listeners. Basically, they standardized, or they say like, here's what we came up with, and it's lightweight cryptography. So it's we don't want that heavyweight cryptography in here. We want that
All those
lightweight.
battery-eaten cryptographies out
Yeah.
there for
Yeah.
IoT devices.
It does say that AES and SHA-256 are still advised for general use. Is it? I mean, I'm not an IoT programmer.
Wait.
Is it really like? Can you not use AES on IoT stuff? Is it too?
I would
heavy?
imagine everything is so small and like the data, you're going to use the easiest thing that you can. Like how many IoT devices do you think are even using encryption for one thing?
Yeah.
I would imagine most of them are not. We've seen it too. What was the big camera? I guess the big camera one, that doesn't really matter, but we've seen
Yeah,
other
that
ones.
was
We've seen it all
TLS.
of
It was just bad
Yeah.
TLS. Yeah. I think it's interesting. I guess the fact that NIST felt the need to develop this means that clearly there's a use for it. So it's kind of a cool new encryption algorithm for those that are like, we've been rolling our own encryption. Well, now you don't have to because NIST came out with an encryption algorithm just for you.
Yeah.
Ascon Air.
Ascon. We also have Ascon. When is that conference? I don't know. Ask NIST.
I don't want to know.
Do you think that that's their official internal NIST conference? I don't know. Maybe. So there's another article that we should talk about, which is just Captain Obvious. I feel like saying this, but the article is from Tech Explorer, and the headline is Americans don't understand what companies can do with their personal data, and that's a problem.
And water is wet in other news.
Yeah.
So this is pretty funny. This is pretty funny though, because it's a sort of scientific, or it's at least published by someone that has a university in their job title field. But basically, it's a sample of 2,000 Americans were asked 17 basic questions about online marketing and how companies can use their data. And then it has a graph of the results, and 77% got 9 or less answers correct.
These were all Google employees prior to being laid off.
Are we sure these aren't just? Are we sure this isn't just Americans are dumb?
Do they have a sample of these questions? Like, how hard are the questions?
I think we should take the
That's
quiz.
thing. I don't know, like, where does the sample come from? You could sample 2,000 people in the same place. Is it spread out? Is it diverse?
Oh, it's always got to be random. Let's see if we can find the original questions. I'll take that while you guys chat about the article.
Fully 77 of those surveyed answered 9. So 77%.
So basically, a third of people don't know you can get charged tax in your state when you shop online.
I feel like,
but this is 77%. This is much worse.
Oh, HIPAA protects me from everything.
I know that's what
Oh,
so they don't know what HIPAA's about, right? They don't.
Has
But
anybody
do they care? That's the thing. Like, has there ever been a point where you need to know this information nowadays?
Okay,
Has
so
the majority of Americans ever known what HIPAA is actually about?
Are
Welcome
you
to the
ready?
HIPAA hour.
Are you guys ready?
You got 'em? Yeah, let's go.
Is
let's
everyone
go.
ready to take the quiz?
Chat, you're in on
Okay.
it too.
Chat's in on this too. This is the answers are true and false, so they made it that
my
much
God.
easier. This isn't even okay. This isn't even.
How did they got half of them right? So
No, 70%.
well, no, that means
I just-
statistically, if they're all true and false, statistically, you're gonna get 50% no matter what. On the
Okay,
quiz.
question
So-
1. Is everyone ready for this? We don't have to do all 14 or 20 questions or whatever, but basically, question 1, true or false? When I go to a website, it can collect information about my online behaviors, even if I don't register using my name or email address. True or false?
Not in California anymore.
Well,
IP
truthfully, only
metadata,
30% of people
browser
got that one
metadata.
wrong. 30% of people got that one wrong somehow. Let's look at the one that the highest percentage of people got wrong,
All right.
which was social media. Some social media platforms activate users' smartphone speakers to listen to conversations and identify their interests in order to sell them ads. True or false?
True.
Well, 85%
Why am I
of
the only
people
one
got that.
answering?
True.
They all said
85% of
false?
people said that was false.
Oh, wow.
Don't you read
Or-
when you give an app permissions, it says microphone clearly on it.
No one reads that stuff.
Whoa, the permissions.
It's
you
like
could
reading
break
the EULA.
Yeah. So, okay, actually,
Scroll to the
specifically
end.
on that one, 44% said true, 16% said false, and then 40% said don't know.
So there was a third option this entire time too.
Don't
they
know.
actually allowed them to say don't know. It's
It's
true
the
or false,
cop-out
not true,
option.
false, and don't know. Come on.
You can say don't know. Yes, that's an option. So the other ones that people got wrong, a website cannot track my activity across devices unless I log in.
Is there an age
somehow?
demographic to this?
Yes, there is.
I think that would be interesting to see.
Are you ready
because-
for this?
Yeah.
So-
I know it.
11% were 18 to 24, 17% were 25 to 34. So between 18 and 34, that's 28%. Then 17%, 35 to 44. None of the age groups are overrepresented except for 75 plus only is 8%.
Okay.
So I'll put the link to the actual paper. It's pretty interesting.
I know there's been some articles where they're saying even though like the younger generation is more tech savvy, they still fall for all the fish and all this type of stuff. But
So if you
It
weighted
gets me,
by
at least you would
age,
think, right?
if you weighted by age, they did do slightly better. Actually, the highest scoring population was 35 to 44.
Damn, I don't even fall into that.
Hey, remember when
The
people
lowest-
said that access to information was why people weren't that smart?
No.
I think we proved that that's not the case anymore, right?
Well, I will say 75 plus
You've
did
got
real
all the
bad.
information and you're still getting it wrong.
75 plus did the worst, but then after them, the next worst was 18 to 24.
Oh man.
Oh,
How do you not know that a website
We
can
need-
collect your data even if you don't log in? Like, are you like, I don't know what a website is? I only know what apps are? Like, I don't even know.
Maybe they should have like a data privacy class in high schools nowadays. You know how like they got rid of
Ooh.
finance and home ec and everything. What about like data privacy? Like, I think that just.
I
slipped
mean,
in
I
into
already
government.
checked out and posted 50 TikToks in the back of the class. So.
And you're like, you know how many Chinese have seen those TikToks? Oh no.
So somebody
Yeah.
in chat said that they've heard younger generations are less tech savvy because it's technology's too straightforward now. Do you think there's some truth to that? Like,
So,
hey, you can pick
yeah.
up your iPad and you hit 2 buttons and you're on the internet and all this stuff.
Yeah,
It's super easy back in the day.
I used to
We
have
had
to type
to
Windows.
Figure out how to plug things in and dial up and do all this kind of, you had to be technical, right? It's kind of like blockchain is now versus the internet back in the day, right?
It's
some truth to
abstraction,
that,
right?
Brett?
Yeah, I would
think-
definitely say
Yeah,
there's a gnarly
definitely.
amount of truth to that.
I think
You don't have to
I think-
engineer your way to the internet.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily think making things hard inherently makes them more educational,
No.
but I do think that when you build super high abstraction, which is basically what apps are, right? You're abstracting all of the functions that are back end and front end, and even installing programs and all that stuff is all completely abstracted away from the user. You lose this awareness of what installing is, what is downloading. Like, it's kind of ironic, but like at least when you run an installer, it tells you what it's doing. It tells you like copying to see Windows, whatever. But like on a
Installing
phone, it's not.
malware.
Yeah, it
So-
doesn't say like copying to see, or whatever /apps. So I do think there's an element to that. I do also think it's funny because everyone is working to build stuff that is so seamless and easy to use, right?
Mhm.
So
This
But-
is a clear like the Skinner Simpsons meme where I'm not out of touch. No, the children are wrong, right? That one. It's true. So the children are out of touch because everything's too easy now, and we had to go through. At least most of us probably had to go through a little bit harder. I think.
Yeah,
you're
some could be
absolutely right.
said for like, I don't know. I'm not good at farming because I didn't grow up being a farmer and doing all that kind of stuff, right? So different channels, you can be good at, but technology is so in the face now. It's there. You're kind of expected to know how it works and everything, especially when you get to the workplace. This day and age. So it's
You wanna know
important that
what's-
we teach people this, and to know how things work underlying. That's why when I teach classes, I teach how not automation, but how things work, right? So that you learn that kind of way.
It's like once you know the settings are always in the certain spot in the computer, right? You're always gonna know what's the word where man, now I'm looking real stupid. What's the
how old are you again? Oh, you're in the
dude, too
lowest
much.
scoring population. Are you 75 plus?
no, I was
Are you
in the one
75
above
plus,
that.
Wade?
Yes, I am now. Man. I feel like I've been programming all day. My brain's dead. I didn't drink enough coffee. All right. But once you know an interface, right? Once you understand some security interfaces, this is like what I teach my mentees. Like once you start learning one, usually going to the next one, you're okay. It's just like vendors and security tools. You never put vendors on your resume. If you know one EDR, you'd probably know all of them. You just have to learn the terminology and the flow a little bit. But that's how it is with overall computers in general. And I think that's, especially if you're staying in one environment, like Google is going to, actually Google's a bad example. I feel like Android's switching every other week. Can't even turn stuff off anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the best thing I want to say about this article is that I guarantee you the listeners of this podcast would have scored way higher than that, because
Yeah.
we've talked about, like, one of the questions is the video company Ring has a policy of not sharing recordings with law enforcement without the homeowner's permission. We've talked about that story where they do share law enforcement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So hopefully listeners of this podcast would have scored a true 90+% wrong.
That's what I'm saying about demographics. You take 2,000 of our listeners, they're going to nail this test. You take 2,000 people out on the street, and they're going to get 70% wrong.
Yeah, but all those people on the street still have passwords and data. And they probably have
True.
more than, well, they probably don't have more than us, but they have a lot. So
Also, there's a lot more of those people out on the street than there are of us.
Very true.
in the full
Yep.
scheme of things.
Yep. I mean, I think it's a public awareness thing, and I think the biggest thing is just getting people to care in the first place. And I hope that like data brokers and that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess do people even know what data brokers are? Probably not. So maybe I shouldn't even say that. But
You ever want to take the devil's advocate? Maybe we don't want them to care. What if if they all cared, maybe we wouldn't have a job.
no, we would have way more jobs because there's more there'd be people being like,
Well,
we
if
wanna
everything
fund-
was secure, you would have a job. I don't know. Would I have to defend stuff if everything was secure? Probably not. It's like, oh, we
No,
only
whoa,
need
whoa.
one SOC analyst.
No, they don't need to. It doesn't need to be secure. They just need to know how insecure it is.
Yeah, if
Honestly,
nobody
you
cared.
you could argue that the results of this survey imply that people do think that their stuff is being kept secure, and it's not.
Oh, that's a good,
So
that's
if
a good point.
if we raise the
Yeah.
awareness of how bad it actually is, which we all know, anyone in the security industry knows. First of all, it's all popsicle sticks and glue. You can build as much abstraction as you want, but we know if you go down deep enough, there's like a database with an AS400 and Fortran code that gives me my, money. So like basically there's that, and there's also the factor of like privacy is a joke, pretty much. I mean, privacy, if you choose to participate in the internet in a meaningful way with your personal data, it's not yours or it's for sale, and it isn't it's not something you really can protect, but some basic measures go a long way. Even just knowing, I mean, it's like knowing is half the battle, right? Knowing, oh, maybe we don't use, UFI cams, and maybe we don't use Ring doorbells. I mean, the other vendors, do they have security issues? Definitely, but at least we know they don't share with law enforcement straight off the rip with no interaction with the user. So I definitely think, basically what I'm saying is listen to the, Talking About the News podcast. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
We gotta.
So
we gotta
speaking of survey demographics, did they survey the Pentagon employees?
I told you they're downloading Lover Money. That's all
Lover
they
Money,
have.
man.
All of them are using that's
Lover
the big
Money.
thing at the Pentagon right now.
It's not Lover Money. That's the dating app version. But yeah, so this is pretty funny. So yeah, for those audio listeners, it's basically Pentagon staffers have been found installing dating apps and games on their government phones. I guess this is
And
the answer to
TikTok,
the
I'm
age-old
sure.
question. Do you have games on your phone?
Shocked.
I like how it says,
Shall we play a game?
I like how it says possibly TikTok. Like that's like a big. Whoa.
So who remembers the Ashley Madison breach?
Ooh,
Yes. Yeah, we remember.
Yep.
Yeah, big deal, right? Well, if you went through the data, IP addresses were included in there. If you associated those IP addresses with certain net blocks, you would see how many government net blocks were calling out and assigning logging into that website to do whatever. But yeah, so I mean, it's not shocking to hear that people are doing it on their phones and things like that.
I think the biggest thing that's bad about apps is, like we learned in the last article, apps can do lots of things, right? They can turn on microphones. Yeah, it says even right there. Some cases, apps can be malicious, hijack cameras and microphones. So
all right.
I'm also assuming that the government is running like straight up Blackberries, right? Like they're not running like actual modern phones that are patched and up to date. I'm assuming. I'm surprised
Zach
TikTok
Morris
even
phone.
runs. I'm surprised TikTok even runs like on the phones. Like, but yeah.
Like
I
how
guess
they
I would
mentioned
say
Chinese drones on there. Like I feel like so. I'm pretty sure with Android you still have to. The DJI app isn't in the App Store. You have to download it off the internet and then custom install it. Which
Sideload?
sideload it, which is crazy to me. But that's the go-to drone for almost any. Like I don't know another drone manufacturer, and I would assume that would be on someone's app. But then I also now think, what if the Chinese did get that? I'm gonna have to uninstall that app and run it off my burner phone.
so. Okay,
I'll be
so
right back.
White Cyberduck has a very good point. Why is the government letting them install these apps? Any MDM would solve this. I guess
Yeah.
what I would say is
no,
there's
not
no
any MDM.
there's no MDM that's vetted by the government. There's no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's a great question. I think that's essentially the answer. I also think, does the article specify whether it's personal phones or whether it says government phones?
It says
but
government phones, but it doesn't
but does
say
that
if
just
it's
mean-
personal government. Yeah, do
Right.
they just work for the government, like overarching,
Mhm.
or is it actually government issued? Like, here you go, this is your phone.
Yeah, that's it. It's a good question.
It doesn't, which would be interesting as well. But how many companies really offer phones nowadays too, though? Especially because everyone's going remote, it's just easier to pay a little bit for their phone bills and just run all those apps on their phone rather than having that dual phone.
Yeah, so
you
there
guys
is
would know more than I would, but
for anyone
I
that
haven't
wants
seen
to
it.
dig in, I'll link the actual Inspector General's report on. It doesn't seem to get super detailed. It doesn't give like specific numbers or percentages or things like that. But it basically just says this is bad. Hopefully we
Okay.
can fix it. Politicians don't understand MDM. Does anyone really understand MDM?
Well, the other thing, in just looking at this, it seems that it's possible.
That was going to be a balloon article for sure. I thought someone was going
Hacking
to pull one
Facebook.
out.
I don't have any more balloon articles. I used them all. I used all my balloon articles. So
Well,
I
it's been a
don't.
few hours. Maybe there's another one out there.
I love the title of this
Might have been.
article. When Facebook came for your battery, feudal security failed. Does anyone have any idea of what feudal security is?
A
Is that a
moat,
new MD? Is that a new MDM?
drawbridge,
A moat.
A moat.
Black Knight. I don't know.
So yeah, basically, I mean, this is probably worth a read. It's posted by Cory Doctorow on his Medium page. It's basically talking about how Facebook Messenger was running a test to deliberately drain users' batteries to determine how power hungry pieces of the app were. This activity was whistleblown. Then it sort of entered this long sort of process. They call it negative testing, which they call standard practice at Facebook. And then it sort of goes and goes. Malicious code was inserted into the app. The feudal security thing is what Bruce Schneider calls a model where we have to defend ourselves against the bandits who roam the internet by moving into a warlord's fortress.
I gotta get my bandit outfit and put it on next time I get into a red team.
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit too much to unpack in this article because there's a lot of sources that sort of have their own concepts. But I guess the sort of interesting thing that I'll solicit everyone's opinion on is, how does whistleblowing in the security world work? Because I actually saw there's some pretty good like rewards for whistleblowing now. Like there's like million. What was it? The one guy got like $1 million reward.
Corey,
for
the
whistleblowing.
serial whistleblower, jumping from company to company whistleblowing.
That's a good job. If you can get paid. I mean, you have to be anonymous. So what do you put on your resume? Like, definitely
Professional
not a whistleblower. Like, the whole whistleblowing thing is anonymous. I think once you get into a whistleblowing like dispute, you're kind of like in witness protection. So, maybe the government will vouch for you. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you worked
name.
Your screen name is whistleblower 01."
Change it.
Yeah, I guess
02 with the next company.
Let's wrap it up by talking about which warlord's castle is Black Hills a castle? Are we a warlord?
It sounds like the Skeletor's castle. Like it should be something like that, ominous on the hill.
Yeah, are we that? Are people entering our castle? Because that doesn't seem accurate.
I thought you guys would be more like the bandits hiding.
Our castle's pretty wide open, right? There's no drawbridge or moat.
The castle's open. Come on in, I guess.
You just don't leave when you come in.
No, you're allowed to leave. That's why we're not a cult. Don't worry about it.
Not a cult. Not a cult.
Definitely not a cult.
I think that's it. We're good.
I guess read Cory Doctorow's book if the concept of feudal security is interesting to you.
All right, I guess that's wrapping it up. I'm gonna do our new QR trick.
Ooh.
Boom.
Oh,
we get
my.
a QR code now for our anti-siphon summit that we're getting ready to do March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Steve's gonna try it out, see if it works, see if it's for real.
I don't scan QR
Wait,
code.
did you actually scan it?
Somebody hit up Noah, see if he'll scan it.
If you're in the audience and you scan this, you actually get the opposite of what is it? Like the opposite of a reward, a penalty, of a demerit.
It's a merit.
It's a restream link too.
Oh, it actually tells you in
Restream sign up.
Who did it?
Oh,
Who
is it?
scanned it? We get a notification every time someone.
Do you
scans
really?
it.
Let me see.
That's definitely a denial.
Wait,
of
no, go back. Go back.
Wrong button. Oh, you want the code again?
Yeah, it actually tells you when someone scanned it.
That's
No, I
pretty
didn't see
funny.
anything.
Ryan, can you
Yeah,
move
I
around
saw a
the screen?
notification.
Yeah. No, I don't see anything.
So if I scan it again, it'll come up.
No, I scanned it and nothing's happening. Someone just threw the link in chat. Even better. Good job.
We're
Click
all
on that.
backdoored. Thanks,
Oh,
Ryan.
5 viewers
Oh,
scanned the
no.
QR
You're
code.
welcome,
Maybe it's
you're
just
welcome.
on ours.
Oh no.
Oh, I see the little pop up now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Why does it keep going away? I'm actually scared.
That's me doing that.
You keep taking it away. How am I supposed to scan
Oh,
it?
I thought we were done.
This is when it goes off the rails. The moment we stop the stream.
We haven't stopped the stream, Wade. Be very careful with what you say. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a good week, and definitely come
What?
to our con.
Why don't we
Or
have a
submit a
QR
talk.
code for Way West yet?
I don't know. We
Because
haven't
we have a
made one
con
yet.
before this, I guess.
Two viewers scan the code.
Why do we have
Two
it?
more
If
viewers.
Noah was here,
We'll
he'd be
have one
so
after
disappointed
March.
about the QR codes.
All right. See you guys later. See you next week.
Thanks
Thanks
for
all.
coming,
See you
everyone.
next
See
week.
ya.